Watch this. Calligraphy brush meets rough watercolor paper. It's not just painting, it's a love story. The brush glides, the paper pushes back, and together they make this crunchy, textured romance. The calligraphy brush is something I just love to use because of how good it feels in my hand. And in fact, the rough watercolor paper, the one that I'm using, is something I got off the Indian market. It's 100% cotton and handmade. It's the perfect pair for this kind of paintbrush. And the style of painting that I'm doing, calligraphy art, you can find a lot of inspiration for it on Pinterest. But really, you should totally go for the rough watercolor paper if you're looking to pair the calligraphy paintbrush with a paper that really understands it. It's often that a specific brush works well with a specific paper. So now that we have this perfect marriage between a brush and a paper, let's see where we can get with it. Calligraphy art is simple and elegant. The secret here? Simplicity. You don't need 50 complicated tricks. Just swirl, drag, and flick. These elegant moves are like an antidote to overthinking. The more you try to control it, the worse it looks. The more you let go, the better. My artwork today is of a rough, rocky ground on which there grows some grass blades and a flower coming out of it. And with the burnt umber at the tip of my brush and my brush held as you can see me hold it, I'm able to catch the roughness of the paper and give it this textured look. Let's move on to painting the grass. So I'll get some sap green and maybe a bit of peacock blue. And I'll allow the brush to do the hard work for me. The shape of the brush, it's very thin and has a pointed tip but also a fat belly that can hold a lot of paint and water. Means that I have the superpower by which I can create very thin lines and very thick wide grass blades at the same time using the same brush. So this is a magician's kit really. The same brush that allows you to create so many different kinds of edges. And I use this with watercolors as opposed to ink, which I see most calligraphy artists do. They use black or red ink. See, watercolor has two voices. One whispers, be ambitious, make a masterpiece, win an award. And the other just laughs. Relax, enjoy smearing wet paint like a 5-year-old. And honestly, the second voice is way more fun to hang out with. The original sin that led to my overindulgence in watercolors stemmed from the second approach, where I, like a small kid, would just relax and enjoy putting paint on paper and watch it blend and mix, and it just filled me with so much joy and energy. But at some point in my watercolor career, if I can call it that, the pressure built up to create stuff that people would want on their walls. And that's when all the joy was sucked out of this practice. And really, it's about reconnecting with the meditative part of watercolors. The brush itself feels alive. Every stroke is slightly unpredictable. And that's the magic. You are not battling the paper, you are collaborating with it. Rough edges, little bleeds, random textures, perfection in imperfection. The possibilities are endless with this kind of painting. There's a lot to be explored. In fact, this is not my first painting of this kind that I'm doing with a calligraphy brush. Just the other day, I approached another painting of a betta fish. And just because it's simple and elegant, don't mistake it for not requiring technique or expertise. It does require a bit of technical skill to nail it. For instance, when I was painting a betta fish the other day, it took me a few tries to get it right. I could not, in the first time, make it look anywhere close to a fish. In fact, it looked more like a flower, with the tail, being the petals of the flower. And there I made a mistake on my painting. I dragged the stem on which I want my flower to be way too much towards the bottom, but I'm able to correct that mistake. And this combo of paintbrush and the watercolor sheet, the rough grade handmade watercolor sheet, is very forgiving in that way. This is where ambition drops away and enjoyment takes over. You stop asking, will this hang in a gallery? And start asking, does this feel good right now? Spoiler alert, yes it does. And this is where the dramatic part comes in, where I place the red on the paper. It's what I've been looking forward to, painting the flower itself, the petals, And really, the most dramatic and the most fun part of this painting is the red. So let's lock in some petals, just a few rough petals here and there. I'll let them bleed into clear water later and I'll show you how I do that. But let me just paint the red right now so I can place the color that's already on my paintbrush on my page. And there it is, maybe a little more. Let's blend the edges now, just like that. See? It's looking closer and closer to a flower. Somewhere along the way, flow state sneaks in. The brush moves, your hand follows, your brain just shuts up. Suddenly, it's not painting anymore, it's meditation, except with prettier results than sitting cross legged staring at a wall. The best part, watching watercolor do its thing while it dries. You can't control it, so you learn patience. Every drying edge is a tiny reminder hey, life's unpredictable, but look how beautiful it can get. Few fine details goes a long way in making a painting pop, and that's obviously still my obsession, even though I'm trying to just relax and enjoy. And so I'm going to try to splatter some paints at the very bottom of the flowers, just like that. In any case, my painting is nearly complete now, and I hope you really enjoyed the painting process. Let me know how you think the final result looks, whether this is something you'd like to give a try or if it's something you already have tried, the calligraphy style of painting. What supplies do you use? Do you use ink or do you use watercolors? Do leave a comment below and subscribe to my channel. And in any case, I've spoken quite a lot. So I'll just conclude with saying that, just have fun. If you're spiraling, don't open your calendar, open your palette. Grab a calligraphy brush, some rough paper, and let the mess happen. It's therapy, cheaper than a session, and you don't need to explain your childhood trauma to your painting palette. Simple, elegant, imperfectly perfect, that's the real masterpiece.